Hi everyone, this is my video about what's wrong with Gladiator. Not Gladiator 2, Gladiator, the first one from like the year 2000. So I saw Gladiator 2 like a week ago. I liked it. I really liked it, except for like the last 30 minutes or so where I thought it got pretty wobbly. It was kind of weird because usually when they have a sequel, but it doesn't have like the people that made the first movie popular, and they're like, oh, this is so-and-so's brother, and this is his kid, and this is his mentor. They do that at like the beginning. And even though it was in the beginning and throughout, it's like they got notes from the studio that like you're not selling the connection to Maximus and the first movie enough. So all of a sudden, like in the last 30 minutes, they just go crazy with all these connections to Maximus, whereas before it was kind of light and natural. But overall, I liked it. I liked the story. I loved Denzel, and I liked the the gladiating, the fighting. I thought the fighting was really good. So I rewatched Gladiator yesterday, and it's kind of funny because it's a classic. Everyone knows about it, but I always had like this weird problem with it. First of all, it came out like the weekend before I went to boot camp, so I was very, very, very busy. It's kind of weird. It's like, it feels like, I know looking back now, it's like, oh, 3 months in boot camp. It was such a huge deal. If you've ever seen this movie, The 24th Hour, it's about like just getting ready, like you've lost your appeal, you're going to jail, but you're still like out and you have to, show up at jail. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like I was like, why did I sign up to go to jail for 3 months? And also I was like 26 at the time. Like I wasn't like straight out of high school. So I remember being flown out to San Diego and reading USA Today, and Gladiator did fantastically, and everyone loved it. And I just had like this sour attitude towards Gladiators, like fuck you. And then I went to boot camp, SOI. Then I got to the fleet. The fleet is what they call it when you graduate, and you are a training and deployable Marine. And then it's 2000, so people still have. I mean, it's like a mix of VHS tapes and DVDs, but like every single barracks room I was ever in from 2000 to 2004, they had their little collection. They all had Gladiator. They all had Blade. Those were guaranteed. No matter where you were from, every guy loved Gladiator. Just for like, almost a quarter century. I mean, it's not like people talk about Gladiator every day, but whenever it comes up in the context of all men like the movie Gladiator. And I was just like, it's not for me. And then I was talking to a friend yesterday, like explaining that this came out, when I was Marines, infantry, machine gunner. And I remember thinking it was so lame because, I'm going through boot camp, M16A2, and then SOI, you got the frickin' 240, 50 cal, Mark 19, SAW, SMAW, AT4, grenades, and I'm supposed to get excited about a gladius, which is like a short, stubby sword? No, I was very much into all of the modern weapons, and I just thought this was the lamest shit in the world. So I went back to, I know I watched it at some point. So I went back and watched it again for the first time in 20 plus years. And it was interesting. So first of all, it's a lot better than I remember. I remember thinking it was just kind of like by the numbers with a good performance by Russell Crowe. And it is. Like, I would say that's the script feels like it fell behind a desk. And it was written like in 1960. Like, this could have been Charlton Heston. Like, it doesn't feel they didn't do like, this is our twist on it. It's very straight down the middle take with some good lines. Mainly it's a vehicle for Russell Crowe. And the whole time I was watching it, I just kept thinking, because I always say, there are no more movie stars. Well, Tom Cruise is the last movie star. You really see the value of having a movie star. Because you put anyone else that isn't a movie star in that role, and Gladiator's just like, people look at it the same way they look at, like, you know, I mean, like I said before, Ridley Scott has been doing these, I was calling them historical movies, and then somebody corrected me. They're like, he doesn't make historical, he makes period dramas. It's like, oh, I want to do something set in, you know, the Middle Ages, whatever. He makes this type of movie like every 3 years. And like every fifth of them, or every fifth one, is a hit. So do I need to explain the plot of Gladiator? Okay, Maximus, he's a general. He's loyal to the emperor. Emperor is killed by Commodus, the son. Then he's betrayed. He's ends up a slave, then a gladiator. Although I was laughing about this. I feel like when you're a slave and they decide like, slave, you're going with him, you're going to be a gladiator. I feel like there's a part, I'm sure it's like, oh, this is a sure death for me. But I feel like there's a part where you're like, oh, you think I'm rough and tough. You think I'm really strong. No, you don't put like the, you think I'm pretty badass. So I do feel like there's like, it's a little bit of a compliment. So he becomes a gladiator. And one thing I gotta say, I watch movies a lot better than I used to. There's a Jerry Seinfeld routine where he talks about that he gets lost by everything that happens in every movie. He's the guy who's always like, what are they doing? Are they on their side? Oh, they're pretending. Like it's funny. Which means he probably stole it from Larry David. But that's how I used to watch everything. Like I would just get lost. I didn't know. And now I like, at this age, I watch things a lot better. So I just kind of notice everything. So I would have noticed this the first time, but I noticed like, the thing is that the emperor that Maximus was loyal to had, I forget if he outlawed gladiators or he just outlawed them in Rome. But basically it was just something that was out there, you know, in the rural areas. So he starts off at like this kind of dumpy Colosseum way out in the sticks. And this is where we get into my main issues with it. I still contend it is a legitimate classic, a new classic, you know, from the second millennia, but second century of filmmaking. It does absolutely, whenever you hear it's like whatever, the Criterion Collection, whatever, it does belong in there. That said, like I said, the script is very like C-spot run. And like, if I didn't know it was released in 2000, I would know. Now, there isn't like Limp Bizkit in the soundtrack, but like they're doing these things with digital effects, specifically with digital mattes and changing the color of the skies, where it's like, ooh, this is like a Soundgarden video. Like it just looks bad. But again, overall, good, solid story, good, solid performances, a bit old-fashioned, although I think that's actually a benefit for this. Here is my major problem with it. It is with Russell Crowe and his level of fitness and his fighting. So you're going to make a movie about gladiators, and then you're going to make a character who's like the gladiator of all gladiators. And then you just tell Russell Crowe, it's like, hey, maybe like jump rope and not so much beer. Like minimal muscle tone. No definition. And if you look at the fights, now you can, yeah, what's his name? Paul Mescal, the lead, well, the technical lead of Gladiator 2. Yeah, he doesn't have that charisma. He's not a movie star. But he was in shape, and he was committed to those fight scenes. It looks like Russell Crowe. Like, if you look at him, now I know Maximus is calm. Like, that's part of his personality. He stays calm. But, like, maybe turn down the volume all the way to 0. Or you could just hit the mute button. And then just look at the fight scenes and look how, like, he's just, you can tell this is a movie and it was shot like, okay, now you swing. All right. Now you do this. Like, the fight scenes are cut one movement at a time. But I also think they were filmed that way. Like, there's no gusto to them. I'm talking about Russell Crowe. Other people are fully committed. They've got this guy, he's from Germania. I think he played Arnold in a biopic. That's a great character. Like he actually enjoys being a gladiator. Everyone else is all like, woe is me. But even when he's out in the sticks, when he walks out and he gets the cheers, like, he's into it. He likes it. I like that there was a variety of reactions to it. I also like that, I almost said Leonidas. Maximus, he doesn't, like, become buddies with everyone. That's what I kind of remember. Like, everyone's like, yay, Maximus! But, like, he's just, like, kind of makes friends with, like, 2 guys in kind of a natural way. Like, they're not even really friends until, like, an hour and a half into the movie. Technically, he's not even a gladiator until, like, an hour into the movie. I misremembered. I misremembered him being in disguise a lot longer than he actually was. I think he's in disguise for, like, one fight. Then he does that great line. It's like, I'm Maximus Decimus Leonidas. I will get revenge on you. Ooh, you better watch it. But anyway, every time, I mean, great performances. But, you know, maybe hit the weights. I'm sure there's some making of where it's like, Russell Crowe trained with, Israeli commandos or some shit like that. But it's like, did he? Or did he just go, like, to a sauna for a week, sweat off a bunch of beer weight, and then just kind of show up, like with the no muscle tone and the no definition and the very kind of anemic fighting. I mean, in this one, they had Pedro Pascal, who's like 50, and he's in a couple fights, and he looks good. Yes, I know they're swapping him out with the stuntman, but, like, he looks solid. The fight choreography to me was better in the second one. I enjoyed the second one more, while still admitting that, the first one's a classic, the second one isn't. But good movie. I think for most people it's a great movie. There are not just great moments, but a lot of great moments. But I feel like if it's called Gladiator, like, I want to see a guy who looks like a gladiator, not like a guy who looks like a corporate lawyer dressed like a gladiator for a Halloween party at work. I mean, he's got the performance. I was going to say he's got the swagger. He's got the opposite. He's got that, like, calm. Like, he's a general. He's not a foot soldier. But, I mean, you watch Michael Keaton, and, like, the first one, it's like, could you do some push-ups or something? But, he's got the suit with the muscles, and, like, this is just like, bro, like, why are you winning all these fights? You're not the strongest. You're not the fastest. Yeah, you know tactics, but they're, like, basic tactics. You're just winning because the script says you win. But anyway, it's good. It's good. I just got some issues with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.